This is a motherfucking video. All right. Let's get to the motherfucking video. All right, right? All right. 14-year-old mass killer copies horror novels plots. Okay, you guys know how I feel about this. I feel like this is uncalled for, bro. This is very uncalled for, my nigga, and I just don't. Let's get right into the video. Okay, that is noted. I want to let you know that I'm connecting. If things continue to go well, like they have, I connect with you if you're interested. Nah, for sure, bro. Hey, you like I said, bro. You're a part of the family now, gang. Get comfortable in this motherfucker. All right.
He was wearing a black cowboy hat, black jeans, a black shirt, a black coat.
It's like I pictured myself doing it or something and never really pictured myself doing anything else.
She was screaming, "Why did you shoot me? My arm, I can't feel my arm." He called us by name, set us in the back 2 rows, and to do what he asked, and nobody else would get shot.
I was going to be the hostage and come over, I'm going to put the gun in your mouth.
There was a guy in the first row, and he got up and was holding his chest and walked clear across the room and finally fell.
In Moses Lake, Washington, on February 2nd, 1996, a 14-year-old student barged into his classroom fully armed, opening fire on his teacher and several students before holding his remaining classmates hostage. In the aftermath, the shooter's eerie resemblance to a fictional killer sparked a chilling question. Was this a calculated act of revenge, or a twisted attempt to bring a deadly fantasy to life?
It didn't seem like he had any real reason of doing this besides just to do something. He kept saying this is a lot better than algebra.
The following report is based on official police records, and the footage has never been seen before until now. On the afternoon of February 2nd, 1996, detectives with the Moses Lake Police Department arrive at Frontier Junior High School, where a vicious attack played out just a few hours earlier in Mrs. Kyrus's algebra class.
Frontier Junior High. I'm standing at the southwest corner of the building next to the cafeteria. I will be walking towards the door of the building.
Wait, can't watch too many of these videos and turn into schizophrenic? Yo, bro, nah. I'm not gonna lie, bro. The reason why I started, look, I'm gonna keep it a buck with you, right? The reason why I started watching these videos, bro, my mother put me onto these videos at a young age, bro. I used to be so traumatized watching these shits, bro. See, the thing is, I can't watch this when I'm alone. Like, no funny shit. I don't give a fuck how tough I think I am. I don't give a fuck how well I know how to fight. I can't watch this if I'm home alone. If I'm literally alone, like literally alone in the dark, I can't watch this shit. Fuck no. Fuck no, bro. I used to literally have nightmares, bro, of like, I used to see people do crimes on like camera, right? They used to get caught on camera and they used to do like mad bullshit. Like they used to like rob stores, or they used to like, you know what I'm saying? Shoot at the cops in GTA, right? And I used to see their mugshots, and they mugshots is what scared the living crap out of me. No cap. I used to date a nigga. I remember it was one time I saw a surveillance cam footage, right, on the news. It was some black dude. The nigga looked mad scary, bro. He was just walking down the steps. I think he killed somebody in GTA or some shit. And that shit, and I was dreaming about that shit. I said, oh shit. But at the time I had like 7 people living with me at the time, like in my room. Like I literally had like 7 8 people living with me at the time. So I don't know how I was still scared. I couldn't sleep. No cap.
The cafeteria area. Down the center hallway towards room 15. This is room number 15, the area where the incident took place.
Still reeling from a tragedy that would claim multiple lives, 2 survivors of the harrowing ordeal begin to share their accounts of what happened inside the classroom.
Could you tell me what period it was?
It was 5th period, but our schedules were messed up, so it wasn't a normal 5th period time.
Because of the bad winter we're having here?
Yeah, because it's a 2-hour delay.
Okay, and what's the first thing that you noticed?
Just the loud shots is what got my attention, because I was trying to do my algebra, and the loud shots, my ears were ringing. And I turned my head and I looked towards the direction of the shots, or the loud noises. And I realized then that they were shots and that people were hurt, because there were people, it just scattered, and they were holding their chests and there was blood.
Okay, it was pretty panicky in there?
Yes.
Okay. When that happened from a person that was in the class, or that it entered from the outside?
They entered from the outside.
Did he say anything when he was shooting?
Not while he was shooting.
Okay, but later I take it he must have said some things.
He was yelling, "Get down."
The shooter would later be identified as 14-year-old Barry Lukaitis. Although most teachers acknowledged that he was somewhat asocial, they described him as highly intelligent, a model student, and a pleasure to have in class. The warning signs they missed would only come in hindsight. John Lane, a PE teacher, explains what happened next after the first shots rang out.
I was teaching at room number 13, which is the room right next to the cafeteria. I heard some loud explosions, was unable to determine what they were. I left my classroom at that time, went out in the hall, and tried to investigate.
When you first heard them, I mean, how many did it sound like?
There were several. I had 3 or 4, I guess. Again, I was so unaware, and I thought I didn't know what had exploded to cause that. Didn't suspect a gun, of course. As I was walking down the hallway, I heard some screaming, some kids screaming. I didn't know what had happened. I saw the door was closed. As I got there, I pushed open the door and saw the kids in various states on the floor. There were some in the desks.
I'm not gonna lie.
As I walked in the door, I noticed directly to my right in the corner someone standing there, very erect, and I detected a gun right away. As soon as I hit the deck and slid around there, I saw Mrs. Kairos lying up against the front of the room and very ashen gray. Apparently, she looked dead to me at that time.
The classroom's teacher, 49-year-old Leona Lee Kairos, still grasped a marker and eraser in each hand as she lay unmoving on the floor. Several students were also shot, but Mr. Lane had yet to realize how many or how badly they were injured when he dove behind the teacher's desk for cover.
What was he doing at that time?
He was standing there with the gun, and like I say, I didn't take too long to look at him. I just noticed that there was a gun and there was someone standing there. He was dressed in dark colors.
He was wearing a black cowboy hat, black jeans, a black shirt,
and he was 14 doing this shit?
It was a real long duster coat.
I thought he was a cowboy?
Dressed all in black?
Yes.
A witness would later describe seeing Barry as he walked toward the school earlier that morning, his black attire a sharp contrast to the white snow. He described him as a tin soldier, walking with stiff legs and keeping his arms tight to his body. Just 3 days before the attack, his mother was with him as he purchased the long trench coat that would later conceal the guns he carried.
Could you see him with a gun?
Yes.
Okay. And realizing that, and maybe I'm wrong here, that you're probably not real familiar with guns, was this a long firearm? Was this a short firearm?
It was a rifle. I've been hunting.
Okay. And I apologize for that. Didn't mean to insult your intelligence. That's great. It was a rifle.
Yes.
How many times did he shoot? Do you know?
Mrs. Carter. He shot Mrs. Carter's once.
One time.
He shot.
Is that her sound? Yo, that can't be her voice.
And I felt like he had shot before. He's handled a gun before.
Barry entered the classroom that day fully armed with his father's guns, a lever-action rifle and 2 holstered handguns, including a revolver and semi-automatic pistol.
Damn.
These are the 2 holsters and the boots taken from the suspect. The shells in the gun belt by the desk.
One student later compared his holsters to those worn by the protagonist in the film Natural Born Killers. Witnesses claimed it was one of Barry's favorite movies, with one recalling him saying it would be fun to go on a killing spree and get away with it, just like the characters in the movie. This unsettling connection to fictional killers would only deepen as investigators uncovered more details in the wake of the tragedy.
The guns laying on the desk. The first one appears to be a large caliber revolver. A large revolver, unknown caliber at this point.
4 days before the shooting, classmates recalled Barry asking if he could buy shotgun shells. When asked why, he eerily replied they would find out later. He told another classmate the shells were needed to kill 15 to 20 objects the size of a dog. He also questioned the power of a rifle compared to a shotgun.
30-30 with a live round in the chamber. Okay, can you show me the side of that, Paul? Is there a insignia on that? There it is.
It's a Winchester Model 94.
Yeah, just...
As Barry's classmate continued to recount her terror, she explained that Barry was no longer shooting, but still held the rifle in hand as Mr. Lane began talking to him.
He was asking, why did you do this and what does he want and does he want to talk about it, and for him to put the gun down and, just trying to persuade him that this was not the right thing to do.
Where were you? Were you on the floor?
Yes.
Okay. And there must have, was there other people on the floor at that time?
Everyone was on the floor.
Okay.
There was a guy in the first row,
Yeah.
and he got up and was holding his chest and walked clear across the room and finally fell.
Could you see the suspect or Mr. Lake?
Yes, I was behind the chair, and there's slits in the chair, and from where I was sitting, I could see his face. He kept looking at him.
The suspect did? Okay. What was the suspect saying to Mr. Lane or to the rest of the class, if you know?
To be quiet and to do what he asked, and nobody else would get shot.
Meanwhile, reports of shots fired at the junior high school reached local authorities, who urgently made their way to the scene. Inside the classroom, Barry began making demands.
He kept saying, Mr. Lane, stand up. I'm not going to hurt anybody. Stand up. I'm not going to shoot anybody else. He did say at one time, if you don't stand up, I'm going to shoot somebody, though. He did say that.
Was that
Somebody
directed
better
at you?
stand up.
Yes, he said if I wouldn't stand up, he was going to shoot one of the
Luckily you
students.
stood
He
up,
said that
nigga.
one time.
Okay. Did you in fact stand up?
I kept telling him I was too afraid to stand up, and I just couldn't do it. I just wasn't able to. During one time when I was laying down, the gun did go off one time, and he said, "Oh, that's an accident."
According to witnesses, the stray bullet struck the ceiling, and Barry apologized to the class.
Oh, wow.
These are possibly of rounds
Did he kill somebody?
which appear to be in the ceiling area.
Teachers and students would recall a change in Barry in the months preceding the attack.
Like
He
what?
became more withdrawn, unfriendly, and had notable changes in his handwriting. One teacher said it seemed as though something was bothering him. Many of Barry's drawings and poems
fuck?
took on dark themes of murder and death.
Oh, this nigga's
He
crazy.
began making alarming comments to people who would walk by, such as, "They don't deserve to live." Just 2 weeks before the shooting, a student overheard Barry say he would kill someone if they deserved it. Whether
Oh,
Barry
fuck.
deliberately chose his victims remained to be seen.
Oh,
But
fuck.
soon, in the interrogation
Get that nigga outta
room,
here.
he would provide his own answer to
My thing is, if a nigga saying that, if you look, right? If you are a student or a friend of his, why didn't you call? Why didn't you tell like somebody? You could have told the nigga mom or something, or the nigga family, or the nigga or a school, and you could have just been low key about it. You feel me? Like snitching only goes for street niggas. All right, you're not a snitch if you're telling on this person that said he'll kill somebody who deserved it, my nigga. All right, because that could have been anybody. He could have said that about anybody in this school, fucking school, nigga. He could have killed anybody in that school that deserved it, right? Look, he said that, and look what he's doing. The nigga's doing some weird shit, and you decide to hold that motherfucker. You decide to hold that in. Come on, my nigga. You trolling, gang. You're trolling, bro. I feel like if somebody whoever's heard him say that should be the reason. He should be at fault, not OD fault, but he should be at fault, bro, for not telling nobody. Okay.
this haunting question. For now, Mr. Lane continued his account of what happened next.
I finally felt that I had to stand up and make something happen. He kept reassuring me that he wasn't going to shoot anybody, and wasn't going to shoot me, and it wasn't going to hurt anybody.
What did he want at that point?
I didn't. He said several times that he was going to explain later on why he was there and why he did what he did, but he didn't explain why he had done what he had done. As soon as I got up, we tried to get him to lay the gun down. He wouldn't do that. And at that time, I tried to direct his attention and my attention to the kids that were injured and kind of surveying the scene. There was one student that was down, apparently dead.
Yeah.
There was another student who kept saying that they were hurt. I'm going to pass out. I'm going to faint.
Yeah, don't share that, please, because I'm
going
gonna get a strike.
She was screaming, "Why did you shoot me? My arm, I can't feel my arm." And she said, "Can I go? You let me go get an ambulance." And he let her go.
Oh, wow.
And there was another girl. She had diabetes or something. She had some kind of illness. He let her go.
Oh,
As an
wow.
officer finally arrived, he passed the shooting victim in the hallway.
So he's a nice
later
mass murderer.
identified as 13-year-old Natalie Hintz, telling her to run to the office where an ambulance would meet her. The girl who claimed to be struggling with diabetic issues came out next, and he urged her to get behind him. Mr. Kairos, the school principal, attempted to enter his wife's classroom, but was stopped as the officer explained he would only endanger the lives of the students inside.
What the fuck?
The
This is my
officer
wife,
called for
motherfucker.
more backup as the hostage situation inside the classroom grew more dire.
Did you remove? And the reason I'm asking, John, is that the breezeway there's an amount of blood that's outside the classroom. You helped the female with the hurt arm, and another person who apparently was not shot but had some diabetic problems was allowed to leave. Anybody else
And
taken
there was,
outside?
yeah, there's one other, and this was the student who, and I don't know who it was laying over in the far corner of the room away from Barry, having real difficulty breathing.
The one that walked across the room, he was laying on the floor, and he was breathing. I mean, he'd take a really deep breath like every
Asthma?
minute or so.
Asthma, right?
It was a pretty long between. He was like groaning, and he was not responsive.
So Mr. Lane helped get him out?
Mr. Lane and 2 other students.
And did Mr. Lane have to ask permission
Yes.
for that?
For
Yes.
sure.
That permission was granted by the suspect?
Not
For-
at first, no.
Oh, not at
Okay.
first.
They asked
God.
if they could get him out, and the suspect, Barry, he asked, how close to death was he? And they said, pretty close. And at first he said, just let him lay there and die.
Damn.
Mr. Lane asked,
That nigga's- I thought he was nice- a nice mass murderer.
Please let
Fuck
us
no.
get this child out. He needs help.
I lied.
And then he finally let him go.
I went back there and he was laying in quite a pool of blood. I couldn't handle him by
Oh, he got
himself,
shot.
so Barry let me
Okay.
take another student, try to help him. Still couldn't get out with another student, so we got a third student, and finally we were able to get that victim out of the classroom.
As backup arrived, the door flew open, and Mr. Lane, along with 2 other students, pulled 14-year-old Arnold Arnie Fritz into the hallway, where 2 officers carried him to an ambulance. Both Arnie and Natalie were transported to the hospital, where their lives would hang in the balance.
Damn.
Inside the classroom, 2 shooting victims,
That is
Mrs. Kyrus and a young boy, lay motionless on the floor. With the remaining students still at gunpoint, Mr. Lane went back inside.
What is the suspect doing at this point?
Just standing in the corner, and what he said he was going to do, he was going to try to organize the room and get things done his way, and I guess let things progress kind of. And at that time, this time of the incident, one of the police officers started hollering at him and called him by name and tried to get Barry to talk to him. And the basic response from Barry was, I'll talk to you in 10 minutes after I've organized things, and then I'll let you know what's going on.
What was he organizing, John?
Well, what he did, he had some of the kids move to the back of the classroom and sit in chairs in the back of the classroom.
We were all scattered around the room, and he called us by name and set us in the back 2 rows, going long ways across the back of the classroom.
One student would later tell investigators it seemed as though Barry was setting up a shooting gallery. As he continued calling their names, the police attempted to call Barry from the classroom phone. In response, he held it above his head and smashed it on the ground. With the phone broken, they tried other methods to reach Barry, but this only seemed to aggravate him further.
How were they communicating with him? Just yelling?
Yelling.
Was the door closed at this time?
Door was closed. In fact, it was slightly open, and he said to close the door. He didn't want it open. He also said, "You're pissing me off. I'm going to get this taken care of," something like that.
Oh, wow. He's on the
They
bullshit.
were yelling his name, Barry, and Barry was yelling back, and he kept saying that if they didn't quit yelling, he was going to start shooting us again because they were making him mad. He kept saying
They got a
he was
rifle and
better
2
than
pistols.
algebra and stuff like that.
What Barry demanded next was nothing short.
Nigga said, what did he say? Did the nigga say, this is better than algebra? Oh, yeah, he lost his fucking rabbit. He's out of his fucking rabbit-ass mind.
Of horrifying, sending the encounter spiraling toward a tense climax.
Barry got a large Ziploc bag out of his pocket and a rubber band and put the bag over his gun and put the rubber band around it and told Mr. Lane to put the end of the barrel into his mouth because he needed somehow to get out.
And at that time, he said, "Now we're going to take care of the hostage." And he said, "Mr. Lane, you're going to be the hostage."
Did in fact you go over to him when he said that?
I started to come to him, but again, earlier he had said, "Don't get too close," and so I wanted to maintain my distance because I didn't want to panic him.
Sure.
And then when he said I was going to be a hostage, and I came up to him a little bit, I was probably 3 to 4 feet away from him, and I said, "Barry, I don't want to do this. I'm too afraid." Tried to. I didn't want to do it.
Sure. What did he do then, John?
Well, I guess that's when it came to conclusion. I felt that I had to do something.
Mr. Lane stood up and walked over towards him, got kind of close, and Barry kept saying, back up. And Mr. Lane would back up a little bit. And then the next thing I knew, Mr. Lane had him up against the wall.
The weapon was a little bit higher and in front of him, so I kind of pinned that. I wanted to make sure that the hand wouldn't on the trigger. If it would have gone off, it would have gone in the ceiling, which I wasn't too concerned about, but I wanted it pointed out. I wanted it away from the kids, and I thought I could. And he really didn't offer all that much resistance. I'm sure my adrenaline was going too, but I thought I could take him.
He had the gun in one hand up against the wall, and they were struggling, and he was yelling for us to run out, to get out of the classroom.
Mr. Lane was?
Yes.
So Mr. Lane is the one that resolved this. He's the one that helped everybody. How long did this whole thing take place?
It was fairly quick, actually. It was about 5 or 10 minutes.
All right.
That this whole thing.
When Mr. Lane pinned him up against the wall, what happened next?
I stood up from the shelf that was there, and Mr. Lane was yelling, run, and just everybody ran out. I think I was the second or third person to get out.
Students began pouring out of the classroom, and 4 officers rushed inside to witness the struggle between Mr. Lane and Barry over possession of the rifle. They quickly jumped in to help, disarming the suspect. With Barry finally in custody, they would soon be able to question the killer himself. As he was taken away, one officer raced to aid Mrs. Kyrus and the other fallen student, but he noted in his report that it was clear any efforts to resuscitate them would be useless. Before they turned to Barry, Mr. Lane and the young classmate shared their final thoughts.
It didn't seem like he had any real reason of doing this.
He just wanted to do it.
To do something.
I think he just wanted to do it, yeah.
That Barry is one of those kids that, the forgotten kid who was just a little strange, and quite frankly, it doesn't surprise me that he snapped.
As news of the shooting spread, a detective from the Seattle Police Department
helped the
reached
nigga
out to investigate.
Honestly, you should have helped him then. You should have reached out to the nigga. If he looked strange, nigga, why you ain't try to speak to him? You just let him walk past the classroom, let him go and be in school looking fucking strange. Y'all not trying to offer him no help, no nothing, nigga. Just fuck it. I'm surprised. I'm not even surprised he snapped. He was always strange. The fuck? There was a lot of strange niggas in my high school, bro. Come on, bro. You can't just say that and not give a fuck. How you gonna say one of your students is strange and you're not even trying to help them, bro? The fuck?
Noting eerie similarities.
You know how I can tell you don't give a fuck about his life? You don't give a fuck about kids' life, the children's life, actually? Not saying that he's a sacrificer, because that's not his job. His job is not to be a sacrificer. But if that nigga was anybody else, if the mass killer was anybody else, bro, and if a mass killer, right, tells the teacher to stand up or I'm gonna shoot one of these kids in GTA, and you talking about I'm afraid to stand up, that nigga, the mass killer, if it was somebody else, that nigga would never cared. That nigga would have shot one of the kids, bro, in GTA. No cap. No cap. Like, if it was somebody different that didn't care about life at all, that really came in there to just cause havoc and did not give a fuck. Not saying that he didn't cause havoc, but I'm saying, like, you know what I'm saying? It's like, bro, come on, my nigga. Problem is that they could seek help, but if that person doesn't want help, you can't force them. Not for sure, but it's like, the thing is, they don't, like, he didn't say that he needed help or anything. Like, why don't you, if you see him being strange, why don't you just ask him, like, yo, are you good? Not once did the teacher say that he asked him, like, is he okay, or asked him if he needed any type of help. Not saying that he didn't ask him, because I don't know, right? But I'm saying, like, you know, I could have put him in, y'all could have did something. You feel me? Y'all could have did something. Something could have been done if you tried your best and he snaps, then okay. You feel what I'm saying? As long as you try. Like, as a teacher, it's high school, bro. I know they have guidance counselors in that motherfucker. I know they do. You feel me? Come on, bro. You could try. You could try something. You know, or you're like, yo, let's have a talk, bro. Like, how about you come over for lunch? Or how about you come meet me in my classroom for lunch? I'll order something. You feel me? You could be one of those cool ass teachers, bro, and talk to him. You feel what I'm saying? That's how I see it, though. I don't know.
Between the attack and a well-known book, an unsettling connection that will later be explored. With a classmate and teacher pronounced dead, as well as 2 injured students at the hospital, Barry was brought to the police station, determined to uncover what drove him to commit the brutal attack. Sergeant Ruffin with the Moses Lake Police Department began to question Barry.
Barry, how old are you?
14.
Okay.
Niggas are 14.
Have you ever been in any trouble before at all? For anything? Just anything minor?
I got detention once when I was a second.
Just minor stuff.
Yeah, for sure.
Barry,
For sure,
what
bro.
I'd like to do is that
Have my parents been notified?
Barry, I don't know. I'm not sure who your parents are. Have you called them?
No.
Okay, maybe
This
that's
nigga's
something
speaking
we
like
can do here in a
regularly.
minute.
What Barry didn't know was that his mother entered the police station less than an hour before his interview began.
Oh, wow.
Court documents argued Sergeant Ruffin knew full well Barry's mother was in a waiting room as he continued to question Barry without an adult present.
What I want to do, Barry, is that I need for you to explain yourself, because if you don't, you're not going to get another chance to explain yourself. Once I leave today, that's it. I mean, because basically, then I've got to go do all that other stuff.
Explain what I did?
Well, I mean, where you coming from on this, buddy?
Oh, why?
Yeah, but to do that, I need to get the paperwork done, okay? And that's why we got to sit down for a couple minutes and just do paperwork, okay? Is that okay with you?
How long does it take?
Not very long at all.
Would I be able to have anybody else here besides a lawyer?
Who else would you like to have?
My parents? Maybe.
If you want to do that,
I at least want to talk to them.
okay, if you want to do that, why don't we do that, and I'll see if I can get your parents here, okay?
After being read his Miranda rights, Barry formally acknowledged and waived them with his signature. Sergeant Ruffin continued questioning him about the incident.
Were you in school at all today? You didn't go?
No,
What happened after you went inside?
I don't know. I guess reflex took over, sort of. I don't know. It's like I pictured myself doing it or something and never really pictured myself doing anything else.
Okay. Have you drank anything today? Any alcohol?
I don't drink.
Okay,
I
good.
don't do drugs and I do not smoke.
Okay.
I don't think what I'm hearing is all true. And now those people up there that were injured, did those people do something to you?
What have you been told?
Well, I spent some time up there at the scene there, and I understand that you were pretty angry. And were you angry up there with those people?
No.
Not at all. Okay.
So what
Did you
happened?
know any of those people that were injured?
I knew who they were.
You didn't. I mean, not personally, right? Okay.
One of them, but
Which person did you know up there, Barry?
first one I shot.
Barry's first victim was the male student who died at the scene.
Damn.
14-year-old Manuel Vela Jr.
Rest in peace.
According to witnesses, Manuel had teased him in the past.
Aw,
calling him
GG's.
names. This prompted
Ah, fuck. Damn, I was about to say, like, he bullied a nigga or something? It had to be that, right?
threats from Barry, who was overheard whispering, "Do you treasure your life?" One classmate once heard Barry say, "Someday people are going to regret teasing me." It's
Damn.
important to note that these claims come from witness
That's what I'm saying.
account.
People overhearing this shit and they just let him go. Okay, yeah, well, what the fuck? You see what I'm saying? Y'all just overhearing this shit. Y'all not going to nobody about this shit.
But there is no verifiable evidence to support.
Not saying that they
Manuel
at fault.
ever
He's
teased
obviously the
Barry.
reason for this, but it's
You
like,
know that
damn.
teacher? That's your class, right?
I didn't know her personally, but yeah.
Okay. Is she your math teacher?
She could have been avoided.
Yeah.
And do you know her name for me?
Not her first name.
Okay, her last name by chance?
Kyrus.
Okay.
Mrs. Kyrus.
Did Mrs. Kyrus do anything to you?
No.
So-
However, witness statements suggest he may have harbored negative feelings for his teacher. Weeks before the shooting, Barry supposedly complained about her teaching methods, with one teacher saying the two had a personality conflict.
The
One
fuck?
witness stated Mrs. Kyrus gave him detention a week before the incident, after
lot of people
Barry
failed
put
him, yep.
paper in the classroom heater. Another recalled Barry stating he wanted to kill Mrs. Kyrus because she told him he had a wrong answer.
You see what I'm saying? Niggas is overhearing this shit and niggas is dead ass not coming. Yo, bro, this is blowing minds. Like, there was already signs to the red flags, bro. What the fuck?
in class.
Okay, now the other people that got hit, were those accidentals, or were you trying to hit them? Or that was just kind of crazy then?
That was kind of crazy. It might have been deliberate. It might have
So the only two deliberate ones
I
would
believe it was deliberate.
the only two positively deliberate ones would be
The only positive deliberate would be
A search warrant was executed on Barry's house in the days following the attack. In his room, they find the book earlier mentioned by the Seattle detective. The novel, titled Rage, was published in 1977 by Stephen King under the pseudonym Richard Bachman. In a twisted parallel to real-life events, the book tells the story of a student who fatally shoots his algebra teacher, taking his classmates hostage and threatening to kill them should they fail to comply with his demands.
The fuck?
According to the Stephen King website, the book
Of
was
course
later
it's Stephen
removed
King,
from
of
print
course.
due to the sensitive nature of its
Of
content.
course it's Stephen King,
Another
bro.
notable book among Barry's collection is
I ain't gonna
Gunslinger.
lie, shout out Stephen King, but that nigga make a lot of crazy shit, a lot of crazy books, a lot of crazy movies, my nigga. No funny shit, bro. You gotta relax. Okay.
The first
Great
volume
movies, though.
in the Dark Tower series. The novel contains Western themes, with the main protagonist often depicted as wearing a trench coat and cowboy hat, wielding guns similar to those Barry used during his attack. Though Barry never admitted in his interview whether he drew inspiration from his favorite movies or books, his actions and the eerie parallels to the fictional killers are impossible to ignore.
I need to ask. What am I going to do after I'm out of here? Are they going to go back to the cell or what?
You know,
Or they
What?
need to ask me some more questions?
well, I think if you and I can clear this up, I mean, why, is there somebody in particular somebody you wanted to do, or somebody you want to talk to?
Well, I would kind of at least let my parents know what's going on,
Okay.
but
We can-
I don't know if I want them here. And
Sure. And I give you my promise on the deal here. If you want your parents here right now, I will get your parents.
Yeah, I know,
Okay.
but I don't.
All right.
At this point in the interview, Sergeant Ruffin was interrupted by another officer and briefly left the room. When he returned, he had news to share with Barry.
Barry, we have a little technicality here, and here's what this is that your mom apparently, and I haven't seen your mom, I don't even know if your mom's here, but apparently she called a lawyer, and the lawyer called down here, and the lawyer said that he wants me to stop talking to you. What are your feelings about that?
Well, I think it should be my business, but of course it's my mother.
Okay,
So.
all right. So what I'm going to do is, out of honor, I guess, for your mother and also the lawyer at this time, I'm going to stop the statement.
With that, the interview reached an end. An autopsy report would later determine that 49-year-old Leona Lee Kyrus and 14-year-old Manuel Vela Jr. each died from single gunshot wounds. As for
Damn.
the two victims who went to the hospital following the attack, 14-year-old Arnold Arnie Fritz died shortly after his arrival. 13-year-old Natalie Hintz ultimately survived after undergoing extensive surgery and nearly losing her arm. Barry was arrested and booked into the Grant County Youth Center. A motion was filed for a psychological evaluation to determine whether or not mental illness played a factor.
I don't think so. I think he was just mad.
It would later be revealed that during the winter months when Barry became noticeably withdrawn, his parents were experiencing marital issues, with his mother filing for divorce just 1 month before the attack. While multiple doctors agreed that Barry was experiencing depression, there was disagreement as to the extent.
Nigga, depression can make you do this? And what annoys me the most is that I love books, but I hate when people use it as a way to justify this kind of shit. Yeah, I know, bro. I don't know what's wrong. Some people are just Ed. But I don't think depression can make you do this type of bullshit, right? Fuck no. I could be wrong. Unless people don't. Oh, shit, I never had that. I hope I never have that kind of depression. No cap.
His lawyers later filed a
Because
motion
I've been depressed.
to
It did
suppress
not make
the
me want to shoot
statements
shit
made
up.
to Sergeant Ruffin during his interrogation, arguing that the sergeant had violated his rights. However, the trial court denied the motion, ruling that Washington law does not require parental consent when a juvenile waives their rights. From August 15th to September 24th, 1997, Barry Lukaitis stood trial in court as an adult and was found guilty of 2 counts of first-degree aggravated murder, 1 count of second-degree murder, 1 count of assault in the first degree, 1 count of assault in the second degree, and 16 counts of kidnapping,
that's life.
each with a firearm
that's life.
enhancement. He
Have
was
a good day.
ordered to serve 2 consecutive life
Have a good
sentences
day.
without the possibility of parole.
Damn.
According to news outlets in 2017, due to the Supreme Court ruling of 2012 that juveniles younger than 16 cannot be sentenced to life without parole,
he's home.
Barry Lukaitis was resentenced to a total of 189 years in prison.
Have a good day. That's how he look. Have a good day. Have a good day. Yeah, he's done. He's done for.
We attempted to
This nigga's
verify
Uggs.
this information with the Grant County Court, and they were unsuccessful in locating his records.
Hey, he's fraud. Have a good day. Have a good day. He's cooked. He's cooked. Nah, bro. That nigga been in jail for like 30-something years, bro. 2007, 2017. No, I'm lying. Like what? 27, 26 years? Yeah. No, yeah, that was... What a video, bro. That was crazy.